Singh became the hero of Boston after he rescued a visually impaired man who fell on the subway tracks. Gurtej risked his life by jumping onto the tracks to lift the man to safety. As can be seen in this video, Gurtej came back a second time to make sure the man was safely out of the tracks. Incident was covered extensively by local media networks, focusing on the bravery of the Sikh. The incident occurred at around 10 a.m. on Friday when the visually impaired man didn't notice warning signs posted on the pavement before the tracks. While speaking to reporters, Gurtej said he heard the scream and looked at the tracks. Gurtej went on to say he didn't even think twice before helping the other man. Well, let me quickly cut across to Deputy Shiv Arur for more on this. Shiv, another example of the bravery of a Sikh person, that too outside India. Gurtej has set an example after that incident in New Zealand.
Absolutely, Ankit, a great example of the alacrity with which people are willing to put their own lives at stake to rescue another person. This is Boston. The images you see on your screens right now are from Boston. This incident apparently took place last month, in May, in fact, and the pictures have only come out just now. And Gurtej Singh is something of a local hero in Boston. He's been hailed, as a brave person, because what really happened was there was a visually impaired man who actually stumbled, didn't feel the bumps in the tracks, and actually stumbled and fell onto that particular track. And there was a train actually coming. Just 2 minutes later, a train actually rumbled past those tracks. So it was an extremely precarious situation at this subway station in Boston. And Gurtej Singh, who happens to be the president of an Indian group and association in Boston, as you can see in those CCTV images, if we can pull out those CCTV images and put them on our screens again in just a moment, you can see that Gurtej Singh didn't hesitate for even a moment. He jumped immediately onto the tracks and rescued the person, the visually impaired person who was apparently screaming and in a panic in this situation, got him off that track and pushed him on. And if you look carefully at these images, you can actually see Gurtej jumping back up and actually going back down just to make sure that this visually impaired person, is completely off the tracks, and there's no risk of him actually falling back down. So definitely being hailed as a national hero there in
Shiv,
Boston.
stay on with me, Mr. Preetpal. He's a Sikh community leader from California. He's joining us on the phone line for more on this. Mr. Preetpal, first of all, it must be a proud moment for you. Not only a person from your community, but an Indian had, risked his life to save the life of another person there in Boston. So how would you react to this?
Yes, it's really a great moment for the Sikh community that a Sikh American, he risked his life to save another life. And more especially, the person who fell on the tracks, he was a blind man. He couldn't see how did he fell, but when he just heard the screams, he didn't think twice. He just jumped, saved his life, and dragged him back, and I think another person, he helped him. But it was really a moment of risk, because if you look at all the train tracks, two things: the trains they move so fast, and the other thing, there is a third rail that's called electric rail. If somebody by accident touches that line, he is no more. So he risked his life not once, double
so
time.
How are the local Americans reacting to it? We have seen that it got a lot of coverage as far as Boston is concerned. How are the people reacting to this incident of bravery there by Gurtej?
Let me tell you this. There are so many stories in the past that when the Sikhs, they risked their life to save somebody's life. But we, as I said earlier, we are really proud of him, and we are tracking him. We couldn't track him for some days. We are trying to track him, and we will bring him up, and we will honor him suitably.
Thank you so much for speaking to us here on India Today, sir. Must be a proud moment for the entire Sikh community there in America. Shiv, coming back to you, there have been a lot of crimes, racial crimes that have in fact risen in America. And Sikhs have, especially after 9/11, been target of many such hate crimes. How do you think such acts of bravery that the local Americans are now hailing will go as far as the community is concerned in US?
That's a very good point you're making, Ankit. Yes, absolutely. I think the racial profiling of Sikhs has been a concern in the United States since 9/11 and even before that, but especially after 9/11. But I think incidents like these, while nobody can really comment on whether the two things can actually be connected. The simple fact of the matter is there is a huge amount of goodwill for such acts, especially in situations like these where tragedy is just moments away. And where there's no accounting for anyone not reacting or not. Nobody would be blamed for not risking their lives in such a situation. I think the amount of goodwill that would go towards the community, to Indians in general in the United States, is something that simply cannot be underestimated. The fact that Gurtej Singh, jumped onto those tracks not once but twice, is something that should seriously be a moment of pride for all Indians in the United States. And I think that's the reason why Preetpal Singh, who you just spoke to, has said here on India Today that they are tracking Gurtej and they will find him and they will honor him.
Absolutely, this needs to be highlighted. Of course, all the misgivings. There should not be, any doubt of the bravery of this man and also of the situation there.